Now, this case here is a 60-minute case. And as you know, Core 1 cases for exams are 60 minutes in length, and they're primarily focused on the financial reporting. So you usually get maybe three, four, five financial reporting issues, and then one or two other issues that could be tax, assurance, or finance. So we've got those options as far as the coverage of the case. Now, we're going to start out with Sunshine Bicycle Tours as a Canadian-controlled private corporation operating in Kingston, Ontario. It's founded in 2022 by Susanna Mills. SBT offers cycling tours of local craft breweries. The tours are conducted aboard a Dutch pedal bike tours. Large bikes pedaled by up to 15 riders at a time, with a tour guide as the driver of the bike. The typical tour visits 5 breweries, and they charge $50 per person. So we see here in this first paragraph, the primary user of the financial statements, which is Susanna Mills. We also see that they charge $50 per person. So that's going to help us out a little bit later on when we get to our revenue recognition issue. Now, SBT is a small business that Susanna mainly operates from her home in Kingston. However, she recently has been considering expanding the business to offer tours in one of Ottawa's brewery districts. She's seeking funding from the bank to finance the purchase of 2 additional bikes and a small warehouse in Ottawa. So here we're introduced to a new user of the financial statements, which is the bank. And we've seen this in many of our weekly practice cases of having a bank as a user of the financial statements. Before approving funding, the bank has asked that SBT provide financial statements prepared in accordance with ASPE. So again, we're seeing the users, the bank, they're the ones requiring the financial statements, and they're telling us the financial reporting standards are ASPE. Now, in the Core 1 cases, they have to tell you whether it's ASPE or IFRS, or as we saw in our Unit 5 case, the client doesn't know what standards, and then we have to recommend the standards to them. But with this case here, they told it it's ASPE. It is now January 10, 2025, and Susanna recently hired you, CPA, as a consultant to help her with a variety of issues. So our role here is a consultant to Susanna for her company, SBT. So with that, we know our role is an internal role. Our role is to support Susanna in the growth of our company. So we have to champion that role when we're writing the response to her. She's provided a copy of the income statements, which she prepared to give to the bank, see Appendix 1. We'll come back to that in a minute, and identified a number of issues she's not sure how to address. While she completed her MBA degree shortly after starting SBT, she has limited knowledge of accounting. So here we see that she is not a CPA. So we have to make sure that when we're addressing her, that we use terminology that she will understand, that we fully explain the issues. We're not writing to a partner in the firm. We'll also see here that there's a number of issues that she's not sure how to address. So this is one of our requireds. We need to help her address her financial reporting issues, which is the main focus of a Core 1 case. In addition, Susanna would like your help calculating federal taxes payable on SBT's 2024 income. Along with the income statement already provided, Susanna included some additional information that may be relevant. See Appendix 2. So we see our second required here, calculate federal taxes payable on 2024 income. Now, for this case, it's really interesting because they say for purposes of calculating taxes payable, you can ignore the impact of any potential accounting errors you identify at this time. So we don't need to tie in the changes from the financial reporting issues into the calculation of taxes payable. And lastly, Susanna informs you that since SBT was founded, she has been collecting a variety of data from her customers, which she thinks is useful in helping her achieve success in her expansion. She would like you to provide recommendations on how she can improve collection and storage of this data using technology. So there's our third required, which is about information systems. Information on the current system is found in Appendix 3. So we've got lots of stuff to work with here, 3 big requireds. Now, we're given in Appendix 1 draft financial statements, and you see here that the deposit fees, it's something that's appearing this year that wasn't there last year. So that causes me concern. Why is that there What's the reason why it's there? We also see that there's a little number one beside it. So we know that there's more information coming. We see that bike maintenance, there's a number two provided. So we know there's more information coming. And we also see that the income taxes is blank. So that's something that we were specifically asked to calculate the income tax expense. Now, for the note number one, for the deposit fees, we see in the beginning of 2024, participants had to pay 50% of the cost of the tour up front, securing their booking. The deposit fee revenue recorded in 2024 relates entirely to groups that have booked their tour for the 2025 season. Suzanne is unsure of the treatment, but since the fees are non-refundable, she recorded them as revenue. So that's something that we see there. They're already recorded as revenue. So we want to make note, this is a revenue recognition issue. And I can, you know what, we see revenue recognition on every single week, and here it is. For number two, this is regarding the bike maintenance. At the end of 2024, the tires on one of the bikes were slashed in an act of vandalism. Susanna replaced the tires with new, sturdier set, expected to make the bike better equipped for gravel pathways. The total cost of the repair was $8,500, included maintenance expense. This included $8,000 to replace the tires and $500 to remove the scratches from the body associated with the vandalism. So this second issue is this maintenance expense an expense or an asset, betterment to the asset? Additional note from Susanna, during 2023, a bike hit a rough terrain while on tour. Several riders fell off. One of the participants broke an elbow, and the other sprained an ankle and was forced to take time off work for several weeks. In early 2024, the participants on this tour sued SBT for emotional damages, medical expenses, and lost wages. The lawsuit dragged out through 2024. The participants signed a waiver, so I believe SBT is not responsible for the damages. However, the lawyers have indicated that in spite of this waiver, the best course of action would settle for approximately $34,000. And the lawyers believe that if the lawsuit goes to court, it is likely, we've seen that criteria right there, that they will be required to pay damages of $50,000. So what we have here is a contingent liability, and that's our last financial reporting issue. So we've got some really nice financial reporting issues here. The three that are presented, we've seen them in our weekly practice cases. And that's the good thing about where we're at now in the module. We would have seen a lot of the issues already. We're going into week 7. We've seen a lot of things. Now, for the information for tax purposes, so this, we've got information about depreciation, and Susanna already calculated CCA, so we don't need to do that. And then we have some information on some meals, entertainment, and then conventions, where she took a number of conventions in the year. And of course, there's specific rules about how much you can deduct for conventions. A tax rate is 28% after the abatement, and the small business deduction is 19%. So with this, again, you use the marginal rates that are provided. We saw that in the Unit 5 integrated problem, where you had to calculate the corporate taxes payable, and often CPA for corporate taxes will give you the marginal rates just to make that calculation a bit easier. That's for Core 1. Finally, for the last bit of information, I'm not going to read all of this, but we're given information about what she collects from a web form, but then how she processes this by writing it down and putting it in a spreadsheet. And then with that, we see how she uses the data and emailing customers and whatnot. So this is for the last issue, which is the data management and retention issue. So on the screen, I have my outline. Now I'm going to put a link to this in the chat. Give me 1 second to get that in there. And with that, you can do your outline in Word. You can do your outline on the scrap paper that's provided to you, or you can do your outline in Excel. Either way, your outline does not get marked, and it will be ignored by the markers. So just make sure if you do it in Word and Excel, just make sure you make note that it is the outline. The markers will ignore it. But when you're doing an outline, you should always start with your time reconciliation. So the total time for the case is 60 minutes. You want to allocate 25% of that, 15 minutes, for reading and planning. And then writing the case will take 45 minutes. The start time and finish time should also be noted. And this is based on your preference of doing the case first or the multiple choice first. And it's also dependent on when your exam actually starts, if it's at 9 or if it's at a different time. So the first thing on the case we want to provide is our role. So we really understand who we're working for. We're working for Susanna. So we're not working for the bank. We're not working for some other third party. So we need to really state who we are working for. We then state our users and objectives. So we have Susanna, who is our user. The objective is to grow the business. The bank, their objective is to repay the loan and mitigate risk. I like to state which standards I'm using just so I don't get confused somewhere through the case. And then, of course, if there's any important dates, you make note of those as well. So that's basically your high overview of the case. Then we get into our requireds. We have 3 requireds: financial reporting issues, calculating taxes payable, data collection, and storage. Note that when you get the case, you will be getting the case in paper format only. It will not be provided electronically. So you might want to get used to that. Print out your case in paper format and then make marks in the case. Reference back to where you found the issues. Appendix 1 is where you found the financial reporting issues, and we have our 3 issues: revenue, recognition, asset versus expense, and contingent liability. I would have written this in the margin of the case just so I can quickly find the details for those 3 issues. For the taxes payable calculation, I reference back to Appendix 2 because that's where I find the information. I make quick notes about the things that I need to address. And then, of course, make note that I don't have to consider integrating the errors from the financial reporting issues. For number 3, again, reference to the appendix, which is Appendix 3. And with that, we reference the various issues that we found in Appendix 3, just so we remember what items to address. Now, the next thing with our plan is we need to figure out which order we're going to do the issues. And in this case here, doing them in the same order as we found them is perfectly fine. We should always do our financial reporting issues first, then do the taxes payable, then do the data collection and retention. Now, the time allocation for this is a bit tricky. So we start out with the financial reporting issues first. So they're going to be about 25 minutes. And in there, you probably put about 10 minutes for the revenue recognition, 10 minutes for the asset, 10 minutes for the asset expense, and 5 minutes for the contingent liability. It's a very easy one. Is it likely? Is it measurable? Then you make a recommendation. Note that for all 3 of the issues, they are given dollar amounts, so be sure to give a dollar amount in your recommendation. I always like to just give a quick journal entry. Now, for the calculation of taxes payable, this is a very simple calculation of taxes payable, so 10 minutes is all you need for that one. And then data collection and retention, there's about 4 issues to work on there, so about 10 minutes talking in a weakness implication recommendation format. So you see here, this is a very simple outline, but it's a good tool to help you plan the case for writing to get everything covered reasonably well.